What does an excellent team do when faced with a typical question of the method, which is how do we work together? When we talk about the method, we are referring to a specific way of working together that a team establishes to carry out the different activities that allow them to reach their goal. More precisely, the method reveals two aspects to be taken into consideration. The technical aspect, which means activities, tasks and performance needed to reach the goal, and the relational one, which means interpersonal interactions. So two questions come to mind. How do we carry out tasks or activities required by the goal, and how do we interact effectively? In this video, I have decided to speak specifically about the relational aspects because, according to my experience, we dedicate all our time to the technical aspects while neglecting the relational ones because we just consider them irrelevant. Although, let's take a look at both quickly and in practice. As for the technical aspect, method means to decide the technical actions to be undertaken for the realization of the tasks required by the goal. For example, to establish standard protocols to be followed for carrying out different activities or tasks, to establish subtasks or intermediate deadlines, and roles based on technical skills. As for interpersonal interactions, method means to define our specific rules when it comes to interacting within our team. For example, to specify whether someone can intervene at any moment during a meeting or whether the intervention must follow specific rules, in a brutal way of speaking, to avoid a circus. Because ultimately, when a team gets together to decide their own specific method of work, they are just trying to put into order, to organize actions and interactions to reach the goal. Well, as you can imagine, this getting actions and interactions in order does not happen overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day, and in fact, it's something that only excellent teams aspire to do, because in this sense, the method helps the team to set the procedures that imply set rules, but it also must guarantee the presence of two fundamental qualities. Let's call them team forces: communication and collaboration. Now let's see how those team forces are activated when teams start thinking about their own specific method of work. So firstly, the method activates communication because the question how do we work together allows the different components of the team to express themselves, present their own thoughts and express consent or dissent. In fact, the most important aspect in this stage is the ability to promote the use of communication in favor of comprehension instead of power. I always remember a manager who used to ask something and after that say constantly, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me, interrupting in this way the conversation without realizing that the only one who was not listening to anyone was only this manager. Secondly, just as the method activates communication, it also stimulates collaboration because it allows a dialogue within the team and of course between different expertise, all directed to reach the common goal. For example, assigning each member of the team his part, avoiding in this way the improvisation of the rules, which could create confusion and conflict. That being said, now the time is right to take a step forward to delve deeper into methods and ask what are the basic actions to improve interpersonal interactions within a team. The first teamwork fundamental to activate communication is the famous team briefing, because it brings managers together with their teams on a face-to-face basis so that information can be delivered, questions asked, and feedback collected. It's an excellent way to enable communication upwards, downwards and sideways throughout an organization. A useful strategy to promote effective communication is the round table. It's always useful during a meeting to try to involve everyone so that Each person can take the floor, even those who feel less confident or those fearful of being criticized. Let's move on to the second action to activate communication, and let's talk about synthesis. The synthesis is the exact opposite of the briefing. While the briefing represents an exercise of divergence in which maximum space is given to individuality, as in the round table, the synthesis is a convergence exercise which aims to identify common points between convictions expressed by members of the team. You should start to see the team as a living being, because even the team has its own breath that allows it to pass from maximum expansion or difference to maximum contraction or resemblance. And then the last activity we can do to activate communication, which is writing. Writing can be beneficial both to enhance communication during the briefing and to define a better synthesis. Let's talk about 3 different ways to use writing. First, a personal notebook somewhere to record our beliefs on the subject to best schematize the point of view we intend to present. Second, a flip chart to record again a summary of each statement and to track who's got the floor and who still has to take it. And then some post-it notes with a possibility of moving them in successive steps. Right, we have been talking about how to activate communication with briefings, the round table, synthesis and writing. Now it's time to see how we can stimulate collaboration. The first one is free associations. I know it may seem strange to use free associations in a team, but research recognizes in free associations a working way used by excellent teams to activate communication and to stimulate collaboration. Let's forget about the origin of free associations. What is important is to know that this term specifies those interactions that do not follow any sort of preordained order, but are guided by the evolution of their thoughts produced by the members of the team. The key word here is, of course, conciseness. Conciseness of the interventions, which means a short sentence for a maximum of 1 minute, is the intervention type. And this way, and this is the most creative contribution of free associations, all ideas are expressed, and some of them can be a stimulus for others, which may possibly even be antithetical, putting into play a sufficient critical mass of thought to be discussed. If we are good enough at managing this critical mass of ideas, it's there when the team makes a difference. At the beginning of this video, I talked about the ability to promote the use of communication in favor of comprehension instead of power. Do you remember that? Well, this is the point in case when communication gives space to collaboration. We can practice the free associations only if we are good enough at managing criticism, and the type of leadership plays a fundamental role. Okay, let's move on. The second one is exchange of information. To stimulate collaboration, a foreground position must surely be attributed to the exchange of information. That is, when information ceases to be the source of individuals in order to become a property of the group. We must not forget that information is one of the major resources owned by a team. As long as the information ceases to be the property of individuals to become the team's prospect, only in this condition is it possible to talk about teamwork. Now it's time to talk about the third action to stimulate collaboration. See, excellent teams have to be both, how to put it, passionate and measured. What does it mean? Well, it means that they carefully balance the need for quick solutions and pragmatism with the ability to step back, take in the bigger picture and build for the long term. So, from time to time, the team needs to stop, to reflect and take stock of what works and what doesn't. Finally, the last action to stimulate collaboration, which is geared towards promoting the choice between different alternatives. As you can imagine, the team now may have the need to take a decision or a set of decisions. How do we do this? So let's describe a path that develops into 5 key questions. 1. Definition. How many alternatives do we have? 2. Elimination. Which of these alternatives does not convince us? 3. Evaluation. What is the value of each proposal? 4. Voting. What alternative do we choose? And the last one, final review. Are we convinced of the choice we have made? So, with the goal and now the method, we have already done half the work. In the next video, we will talk about team resources. Certainly, the members of the team are the first and most important resource, sometimes the most falsely acclaimed and celebrated resources. And then there are also information, data, knowledge, and so on and so forth. But there are also other resources that are important to take into account to ensure the success of a team. So, until next time, see you. Ciao!